Hey y'all, it's the Dastardly Gentleman Podcast. How we all doing tonight? Tonight we have just me and Frank. Say hi, Frank.
Hey!
Tonight we're gonna talk
That's the
about.
best I got. I'm so
Yeah,
sorry.
that's all you got. It's fine. It's fine.
It is.
It's fine.
Okay, sorry.
It's
Okay,
fine.
serious face.
Okay. It's a little choppy tonight. I apologize. We are having some non-stop technical difficulties, but we still wanted to put the show on for you. So sorry in advance, but here we are.
It's because Neil's computer still runs on dot matrix.
I actually
Not
have a
the
very
Matrix.
powerful computer 8 years ago.
Bullshit!
You,
That's in here.
you
Sorry.
shut your face.
I can't help it. It's my life. You're not supposed to tell me how to live it.
It's now or never. So tonight we're going to be talking about this weird internet phenomenon.
It's not weird. Okay, it's perfect. It's everything that you need in your life.
Everything?
It is. Absolutely.
Oh. Well, alright then. If you haven't heard about this new Super Mario Brothers game that's coming out for the Switch, I suggest going and taking a look. I think it's a rehash, right?
Yeah, it's like a Super Mario Wii U again. Yeah, because that's all that Nintendo knows how to do is just remake the games that they've already made before, and then make them exponentially more expensive.
It's usually like $30 when they remake it, though. It's not the original 60, you know?
Okay, yeah, sure. So I mean, I'm talking like so they resell Mario, you know, and they're like it's $9.99. I'm sorry, what? Mario, like super, the one that originally came with Duck Hunt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's $9.99. Well, that's fucking insane. That's bonkers bananas insane.
Yeah.
It's not how I like it. I don't like that. It's terrible. But anyway, continue.
So there's gonna be this new feature, right? This new feature in the game
Feature.
where
Mandatory exploration.
where you can be you can get a power up like a mushroom, but it's got like a little crown on it. It's like pink, and it turns you into Peach. Like
A variant of Peach.
I-
It's you peachified.
Peach hybrid.
Yeah. like the queen.
So like, you know, obviously the internet went all fuck you with it, as what's his name, ProZD says.
Sure.
He says
He does say that a lot, I'm sure. At some point in his life, he said that a lot.
that the internet just took it and ran with it. Just like, what was it, Rule, what was it, 32, 36, something like that?
34.
34, Rule 34, where you take something you see on the internet, and if there's no porn that exists for it, you make that porn.
You have to. That there are two sections to Rule 34. Rule 34 says there is porn of it. And if you find something, in the case of this mushroom, where there is no porn of it, then you're under obligation to make porn of it.
It's the rules.
That is the rules.
Them's the rules. We didn't write them.
And it's amazing because like it came out of a little 4-frame comic. That's how it started.
Yeah.
Where, Mario is trying to get hitched to Peach and she says no, and then it shows Mario being sad, and then it has Bowser, and then Bowser turns, looks at him, and holds up the little peach mushroom, and then he puts it on, and then in the next frame, Peach and Luigi are playing tennis, and Peach's eyes are about that big in her head, and Bowser is a smoking hot big titty blonde, and Mario's arm in arm with her. It's literally amazing, and some of the artwork that's come from it, because they basically based that character. To me, it looks like, as far as I can tell, that they have based Bowsette's character design off of there's an anime called the Dragon Maid of Miss Kobayashi, and it looks almost identical to her. and that's fine because it's adorable. I mean, Bowsette is adorable. The internet has just absolutely like blown up with this thing, and there are so many connotations and so many things that in the spirit of this particular event that say, you know, fuck you to a lot of present Western ideologies. And I'm just like, this is what we needed.
Is it what we
Great.
needed? I mean, is this the answer to all of our problems?
It's not the answer to all of our problems, but it's definitely like, it's like the conversation between Mercutio and Tybalt. You know, I bite my like, do you bite your thumb at me? I bite my thumb, but I don't bite my thumb at you, sir. So it's like I'm making comment. It's almost like they're making dialogue and commentary about the way that the West has decided to depict itself, and the internet is turning it on its head. Where, you know, because it's funny because we have like the same groups of people who get crazy about different feminist ideologies and, you know, the objectification of women and whatever. And then but then you take Bowsette, who was Bowser, a non-human monster, and then make it a very human female but was male, and then people are objectifying the crap out of him. And meanwhile, like all of these highfalutin, you know, red cookbook waving, bra burning feminists and other anti-Western ideologues are like, I don't see any problem with that. I mean, this is literally exactly what you guys get fucking mad at all the time, and like you guys are fine with it now. You're fine with it now, and I don't understand it. I literally don't understand it. Because like, was it like not even 2 weeks ago we were talking about Soul Calibur 5, and so Ivy wears a battle thong, but she still kicks literally everybody's ass. Her character is built to be a dominatrix. That's like her fighting style. It's everything about her is being a dominatrix. It has been for like the last fucking almost 20 years. And then Bowsette comes along, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's cute." And then like all the porn that comes with it, you know, they're like, "Well, it's not a big deal." Like, how is this literally any different?
Right.
But for some reason it is. For some reason it is, and I don't understand why. You know, like, what is the disconnect between Ivy's state of dress in a semi-serious fighting game to a quasi-joke Bowser being, for all intents and purposes, trans and objectified?
Because it checks the boxes that they want checked. Well,
Right.
I want the transgendered community to be represented. Also, the lizard
Right.
community.
But let's put that now. So he went from female monster, or from male monster to female, I don't know, sex monster, and now it's fine. It's
Hold on. Say it again.
it whatever.
So it's completely fine?
Yeah, it's completely fine. I mean, like, as far as like, you know, these people are concerned, and I'm literally perplexed by that, because you would think that these same people would be furious that someone went from, let's cut monster out complete, from male to female and is now objectified.
Yeah, man. So, I don't know. But if you haven't had a chance to look at any of the art, you should go look at it right now. However,
It's glorious. It's glorious. It's adorable. I mean, like, everything about this is the greatest thing I think has happened to the internet. Fuck, I don't know, like, for months.
because
Easy.
I'm about to show you something. I'm about to show you
Ah, Jesus.
the art that Jared made. If you haven't seen it, it's on our Instagram, but just in case, it's right here, baby. Oh, man, it's huge. Let's bring it down a little bit.
Oh, I know, it's so good though.
Oh, there you go,
I mean, like,
right there. Look at that.
And those are on high quality post-it notes.
High quality, the finest
All
post-it notes.
the finest post-it notes of any American ever. You may now applaud.
Please clap.
So, okay, also I would like to point out that this is not fiction. This is 100% a conversation that took place earlier today.
I mean, yeah.
Nothing. Like, this was like also about 10 minutes ago, and this is literally none of this is fake. This conversation took place between me and Jer
Yeah, I
this
mean,
morning. In the process of discussing this.
I mean, I'm not even slightly surprised. If you'd like to see more like this, go ahead and follow us on our Instagram, because we post this shit all the time. Alright, that's enough of that. So, yeah.
Where do I get my vendor's license to shill all that?
Brought to you by our Instagram page. So, okay, so I don't know how much I can talk about this. I mean, it's amazing, and I'm happy it's a thing.
It's amazing. Here's what we need to talk about. Here's what we need to talk about in order to make this to really I guess delve into the ideology that's behind the internet phenomenon to more or less instantaneously make something like this. What do you think? Because we have right now I'm going to call it the problem.
The problem.
The problem of these to me these extremists of critical non-think.
Okay.
That this kind of thing would and normally be reprehensible to a degree that would warrant violence or sanction or a spot on CNN for you to whine, and then definitely at least 7 or 8 articles in the Root minimum.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, for you to really get it all off your chest and into your waste bin of your mind. So what do you think is the causal relationship between this phenomena where you take a male character and then make it female like this, and then the explosion afterwards and the acceptance of it between Eastern by Eastern I mean Japan and to a broader degree the West?
What do you think what do you think is acceptable? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what do you think like the idea that the idea that it is acceptable comes from? I mean, because up until this point, I mean, like you even have goddamn Team Ninja was refused to release Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. Soul Calibur 5 comes under fire. Basically, like all these Japanese companies that have always done the exact same character models. I mean, like nothing about Japanese approach to video games and women in video games has changed. Nothing. It's the same as it has been for years.
Right.
I mean, they're just as scantily clad, but they're just as powerful. And it seems to me that in Japanese culture that's perfectly acceptable. Like they have this understanding of this difference. I don't know, Neil. I don't know if you know this, and I may blow your mind. And I want you to be ready for this because this is an idea that will shock you. Number 7, especially.
Go on.
And anyone who is dispossessed of this notion in the West. Okay, hey, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Hold on to something. Men and women are not the same. I didn't want to be the one to tell you. I'm sorry. I just men and women are not the same. I mean, like they're not. In every fucking way.
See, this is the way I think about it. All right, let me lay down some gender equality for you. All right, so it's just like we've spoken about this before. Just like any other movement, the feminism movement, the transgender LGBT movement, all of the movements, they kind of sometimes make me want to have a movement. But it's okay. So I understand why people create movements and they push and it's just like ending segregation. Okay, I understand. We need to come together as one. And once you get there, fucking move on to the next subject. But that doesn't happen. I mean, you look at every organized group in the country, feminists, fucking NRA, Black Lives Matter, you name them, everything. It's like, all right, we finally got what we wanted, but let's see how much.
I want more.
Let's see how much more we can fucking get. And it blows my mind. It's like, I want to be equal. No, you want everything you could possibly fucking get, and you want to just wring it out as much fucking moisture as you can get out of that sponge, and then you want to go find a whole new sponge to fucking put on your movement. And it's like, come on, don't fucking sit there and spout off that you want equality when it's really just, I just want what I want, and as much as I can get until riots happen against me. You know, it's the race movement, the feminist movement, everything. It's always like that. You get to the point where it's the peak, the pinnacle. You get to where, all right, everything is all right. Let's abuse our power. And that's the same shit as the video games. I mean, look at this. This Bowsette thing is a perfect example of it. It's like, hey, this should be offensive, but I kind of like it, so we'll let it slide. It's like, no, you're either all or you're not. I mean, you don't get to fucking pick and choose what's offensive and what's not, but you do. You do anyways, and it's bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit, and you shouldn't be so offended over little things. If people are getting persecuted, that's one thing. If you're like the whole fucking conversation about which bathroom to use, the transgendered or whatever, okay. If you're getting your ass beat in a bathroom, okay, we should put a stop to that. But if it's like, I want my own bathroom, okay, that's a little far.
I mean, like I want my own bathroom, and I want the office corner window.
Right.
I want that one specifically.
Oh, you're not gonna give it to me?
I don't care about the rest of you fucks, but you know.
You're not gonna give it to me? You're a bigot. You know, fucking Jesus. When does it end? It needs to end at some point, and I think there should be a statute of limitations when it comes to movements. All right, you got what you wanted? We're cool? We're cool? Do you think it's acceptable? All right, dissolve your fucking movement.
They really need to have, like, you know, like every movement needs to have like a list of certain criteria. They need to have like so we have, you know, we have this list of things that we need to accomplish our goals in this scenario. And got it. Okay. All right, everybody get the fuck out. All right, you're all done.
Yeah.
All right, we got it. I'm like, well, you know, there are still other things to fight. No, you got what you wanted.
Yeah.
You get the fuck out.
Start a whole new movement. Fucking eggplant parmesan. Nice, I like that name. I'm offended by bathrooms in general. Let's talk about the ineffectiveness and the weirdness of urinals. I mean, it's more efficient for men. I mean,
no, it can be weird. Okay. It can be really weird because, like, you go into a urinal that's like, I mean, like, I hate. Okay, here's what I hate. All right, I go into a bathroom, and you know, there's like the unspoken, you know, one urinal rule, right?
Yeah.
There's you and there's like a whole bunch of them, like in a casino. You know, you get the one, and then there's the empty one, and then another guy goes that one. I hate being like I stop in a rest area, and there's like 45 fucking urinals, and I get the one all the way in the corner. And then some guy comes in and stands next to me. I'm like, if you don't move at least one over, I'm gonna lay you out in this fucking bathroom.
I mean, that's
You're
just
gonna be like fucking face down in a puddle of urine.
you can't break the urinal rules. The urinal rules are very clear. I mean, they're not written anywhere, but it's very clear. If there's room,
I mean, if they were written, they would be like, it would be in Sharpie on the side of the urinal.
Right, along with a phone number if you have a problem with it. Yeah. Or if you want to talk more closely about it.
Urinals inspire conversations. You piss in it and it splashes back unless you do some goddamn geometry to find the angle it doesn't splash back. That's true. Accurate.
And I hate the fact that I typically wear flip-flops. And you go to the airport and you fucking go to those urinals that go all the way down to the floor and it splashes your feet a little bit. You give yourself a little golden shower. I'm not a fan of it.
Why would you even wear flip-flops in public anyway?
Because I hate wearing shoes. I fucking hate shoes. I do. What's up, Sean?
That depresses me.
Why does it depress you, Mr. fucking Combat Boots?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
I thought it might be you, Mr. Belcher. Thank you for joining us, by the way. I hope you like our show.
I know I do. If you don't, I'll enjoy it for both of us.
There you go.
So I mean, I really do think that like as far as like movements are concerned, that you should have like a certain amount of them. That once you get to a certain point, you need to sort of either dissipate or you know don't seek additional amendments.
Woo! Thanks for the subscribe, Sean. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we got a sub.
So the thing about this Bowsette.
1 second, Frank. It's still going. This is a 30-second one.
Oh my god.
Drinks all around. All right. Okay. Continue, please.
Meat's back on the menu. Man, rather than my follow, I should have done that rather than anticipation.
Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Anyway, mental note.
Okay.
So right. I really do think that, Bowsette almost seems to be kind of like Japan and the internet subculture sort of thumbing its nose at this ridiculous far left movement.
You think so?
It just seems I do. It just kind of seems to me that's what it is, because it's like, because they're almost mimicking the absurdity of this rather bizarre subculture. I mean, like, I was watching a video today. I was watching a video. There's a video lecture of a psychologist, and one of the videos that he played is sort of like part of his. He called it being possessed by ideology, where if you enter a conversation with someone who is possessed by an ideology, you don't even actually have to listen to the entire conversation, because they will run down with a list of things that their byline is, and it doesn't matter what you say, they're just going to scream it at the top of their lungs, and they'll, it's like they're on recording. Every time you talk to them, they'll just go line by line by line by line. And there was a perfect example of this was this video that he played, where this lady got in some guy's face and starts getting all pissed off about how dare he be both white and a working person and have an opinion because his daughter died from drugs. And that was what the whole what the whole conference was like, trying to get people to not do drugs. And he got interviewed by a bunch of reporters, and this lady lost her mind because he was white, had suffered loss, and she didn't believe that he had the right to suffer loss because he was,
white.
His skin predicated the ability to be able to face loss in any meaningful way.
That's just
and
fucking
so
crazy.
She gets in his face, and she was like, "I want your name." And he goes because he's fat, and then he goes, "I'm huge mongus," and then he starts like walking away. He does this, okay, like yeah. And then she starts screaming that she was sexually harassed.
Microaggression.
No, I mean, like, she was screaming that she was sexually harassed by this guy because he was saying what his penis size was. And I'm like, I mean, for real? I mean, and the security guards were literally staring at her like,
wow. That, what?
You're going to need to stop. It's funny because they let him go because, that's insane. And then she wants him arrested, beaten, shot, dragged in the streets, and then crucified for all to know that it's inappropriate to do anything.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Listen.
And they went for it, because like that video went out, and then this lady made a video in like that, throughout all the great far left buzzwords of our century.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Patriarchy. The ugliarchy, which doesn't exist in this country,
no.
But shockingly, even though like for whatever reason the far left decides that like Russia is just a-okay, it actually exists there. Socialism is a-okay in her book, and that it's the only way to ensure equality.
Okay.
And so internalized depression. Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, Mr. Belcher, since you subscribe to our channel, you get to use that super awesome emote now that Ryan there just posted. So have at it, man. Also, don't mean to cut you off, Frank, but I did want to address what Sean had said. Don't get mad. He asked, and it's a very good question. Fight crazy with crazy? I mean,
I didn't even see it.
Oh, he asked that, and it's funny because like you get these people that are all up in your face, and they fucking just go fucking nutty, and it's like, you can't. It's just like fighting a stupid person. They bring you down to their level, and then they beat you with experience. I mean, that's a stupid cliche phrase, but it's true though. Same thing with crazy. I think, and I really wish people would get on board with this. Best way to deal with crazy is to just walk away, ignore them.
No, don't walk away. I mean, like, what the best thing that especially like whenever like it comes to this the broader context of perpetuating a very dangerous ideology. I mean, you need to actually like, first part, oligarchy is defined as a small group of people having control of a country, organization, or institution. Oligarchy in Russia would be like Putin and company. It's a classic definition of an oligarchy because A, Putin has more money than everyone in the entire country, period. B, the Russian constitution doesn't allow you to have more than 2 terms in a row, more than 2 terms in a row. So Putin ran twice, had his secretary run, won in a landslide victory, and then the next term Putin ran twice again.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like kind of like the clinical definition of a corrupt oligarchy.
Yeah.
Then, I mean, he also does like the control of mass media and murders people, but other than that, it's fine.
No big deal.
So, to me, whenever like you're faced with somebody that has like a crazy ideology, you're not fighting for that person's redemption. Basically, what you're really fighting for is the people that are around this person that aren't possessed by this insane and inane ideology. So
Right.
like, I think socialism's the best thing ever. There's nothing that can prove me wrong. And then so whenever you let this person scream and holler until they're hoarse, and then go, okay, if you really think that, and then you start kind of like running through facts and an educated approach to talk about like, you talk about the Soviet Union, you talk about Mao's China, you talk about North Korea, which are all excellent examples of, communism in its fully manifested form. And then you're not talking to crazy pants that's just scream themselves until they're literally like blood's coming out of their nose. You're talking to everyone else that's around them.
Yeah.
So like if you and I were sitting here, and if we had like a substantial audience, and like you and I were sitting here talking about it, and you took up the position of, I believe that the best color is, I don't know, beige, then I would not, because that's insane. First of all, because it's practically not a color.
I mean,
and second, it's not. Shut up. Anyway, it's not even that. It's a non-thing. It's a non-entity. You can't even really pick it up. But then you're not talking to you. I'm talking to everyone else. Like even in this conversation, you and I are talking about it, but we've already talked about it. I mean, I'm talking mostly everyone else.
Sure.
It's the same thing. Like whenever you're talking to a fucking totally insane person, you can go ahead and read what he said.
I'm pretty insane. Sean says, I think that leads to people living in a vacuum of their own ideology, to leave them alone, which seems really dangerous. Yeah, it's the echo chamber effect where everybody just agrees with each other.
It is how you got. It's how you got Hitler, how you got Lenin. It's how you got Pol Pot. I mean, all your major mass murderers, it's how you got them. Mao, all of them. Am I an M? Absolutely. Am I Frank M? Yes.
He's Frankum.
Frankum. Not to be confused with Jankum, although we'll both fuck you up. Especially if you drink me.
Was that a microaggression?
But no, I mean, the echo chamber is the most dangerous thing on the planet. That's why, like, anytime that you're faced with either an ideology or an idea that you're either uncomfortable with or that you question, you need to question. You need to question everything. Otherwise, you'll either A, die as an intellectual individual. I mean, you as an individual will cease to exist, and then you'll be simply part of the flooded herd.
Sure.
So, it's good for you to, in my Facebook many eons ago, you're a funny asshole. That is true. I am a funny asshole.
He is indeed an asshole.
Oh, I'm going. I'm leaving.
Baby, come
I'm out
back.
of here. No, I'm going into space. But you can't just. That's what, like, you mean, because I understand the thought process of whenever someone's like, if they say something insane like Bowsette's inappropriate, you want to like let them scream until they die, and then you tell their corpse, you were wrong. Bowsette is the best thing that's ever happened. at least within the last couple months, until something else that's just like tantalizingly sexual just drip feeds out of Japan, where they still value masculinity rather than denigrating it.
Like, I think it's gonna be a while until somebody tops Bowsette. I mean,
I think so too.
I do like all the variations. You got your Thwompette. Oh my god, that was so funny. What else? The Bouette.
Bouette was good. I mean, like Bouette, look.
Bouette's my boo.
I love Bowsette. I love Bowsette, but I mean, like, the nice part about Bouette is that you can sneak it in.
You just gotta look away. Look back.
Your...
Look away. And look back.
Yeah, and then you just sit there and watch him. You stare at him, and then you do butt stuff, and it's great.
Moving on.
Go ahead.
Sean says, I think history has shown us that the intellectual way will always be a minority and will always drown in the stupidity of their surroundings. I mean, it's gone forever. Like, I mean, look at Galileo. Look at all men of science back in the day when people were burning.
Bullet. That's awesome. I need to see that. Yes. I'm so sorry. I didn't want to interrupt you. I need to see all of these.
Bullet Billet.
Send them to me. I need them all.
So
I mean, the problem with people being an intellectual minority. See, Tesla was a genius, but like Tesla, Nietzsche, even to a lesser degree, Socrates and Plato. They're all people that were geniuses, that were not appreciated in their time.
Right.
Same thing with like H.P. Lovecraft, Robert Howard. They're all guys who contributed so vastly and granularly. That was not even a word. Sorry. To the advancement of intellectual culture, that they weren't even recognized for their real accomplishments until years after their death. Like exactly. Tesla is a great example of this. Aside from the fact that Edison built him out of literally everything, Tesla was genuinely in need of I guess an agent or a manager, because he had a bazillion great ideas, but he had no functional common knowledge to be able to capitalize on them in any meaningful way. So this is like a case of someone who's so hyper intelligent that they're actually an idiot.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of that, because it's like I've met some of the smartest people on the planet, and they're so fucking stupid at common things. Like they can tell you how to build the pipeline that you wouldn't believe. They can just run this math at their head. It's no problem. They can look at the trajectory on a pipeline and tell you exactly how many feet of pipe, what kind of grade, etc. It's brilliant. I mean, like, they are truly brilliant people. But these are the same guys that they are incapable of going across the street and ordering a sandwich. They just can't do it. They're functionally retarded.
Yeah, I mean,
and Tesla was the exact same way.
Well, that's specialization right there, and that's specialization to a degree, to where nothing else matters. It's like I said, it's just like in the IT world. You get these people that know how to code or work on servers and nothing else. They're fucking useless. How do I turn this thing on? Shit like that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a brain thing. Sean says, I think that highlights a major flaw in the backbone of our society. If you have someone as genius as Tesla, I was going to say Tulsa, whom only wants to help humanity, and he needs a manager or promoter of some kind. Well, I mean, look at freaking Jobs, Steve Jobs.
Yeah, he lucked out, because he ended up in a company that was actually able to more or less support him. I mean, like, whenever you're really trying to do something forward, and that was Tesla's problem. Well, here, okay, let me back up. Tesla's problem was that he was too far out. He was like Nietzsche, where Nietzsche was so brilliant that he thought hundreds of years into the future. The things that he predicted are still coming to. He was an Edison, absolutely. He predicted a lot of what we are currently facing in our everyday lives, and he did it sick, a pauper, in bed, at a single stanza at a time. And Tesla was the same way, where like he made shit that was so unbelievably advanced that the world he lived in had no purpose for it. I mean, we do now. Like we're like, you know, reflectively, hindsight 2020 and all that shit. We're looking at it and being like, wow, that'd have been really helpful. You know, it's a really good thing that he worked on that. It's too bad he couldn't capitalize on it. Yeah, but I mean, like we're talking about like we're still, you know, burning coal to make trains move. You know, I mean, like we were just clean out in like, you know, not out of it, but we're way far into the Industrial Revolution.
Right.
But we're not into the more modern energy sector, which was pretty much where Tesla like lived and dreamed. So there wouldn't, even if he had a manager, I almost don't think, shy of the electrical grid that he worked on, there would really have been anything for him to even capitalize on. I mean, we can capitalize on it now because of all the stuff that he thought of, because like now we have the means and the modus in which to use it. But then we didn't. I don't know. I mean, that's just you know, me thinking out loud about it.
It's funny that you mentioned running on coal and stuff like that. It's just people cling on to the old fucking technology because it's easy. It's
Plentiful.
You want people to not have to learn new shit. It's inefficient. I mean, fuck, man. It's like at my company, we've got we have to deploy switches out to each of our branches, right? And network switches, that is.
Switch?
Network switch. You know, they look kind of like routers, but they're not. Anyways.
Oh no, I have no idea.
So there's two different styles that we send out. There's a $250 switch, 24 port, and then there's a $2,000 switch, 24 port. Now our network admins, they're very old school and they like their command line, but the $250 switches don't have command line. They just have the GUI, the user interface.
Right.
But because they don't want to learn new shit, we're dropping $2,000 left and right to fucking accommodate them not learning new shit, and it kills me. I mean, that's just what's wrong with America, you know?
America. I mean, there's a lot wrong. It's not just America, but I mean, you know, that definitely doesn't help.
Right.
And you have to be able to move forward and embrace new things, and I appreciate that. But there are some things that, you know, are being touted as being, sorry, there's this gnat since my last stream has been fucking bugging the, no pun intended, bugging the shit out of me. But like, you know, we have, sorry, I lost my train of thought. There are some thought processes that are being touted as being the new moving forward future.
Right.
But I mean, they're realistically, ethically, morally, etc., from a philosophical standpoint, they're incorrect. And so it's like, I would, if I could get him, I would swallow this fucker whole, just so I know it'll take him like hours to die. Screaming, nerve-ending agony. That's where I'm at in my life. I'll drink a whole bunch of water so that it dilutes all the acid in my stomach, and it'll take this son of a bitch like a month.
Did you get him?
I did, but I let him go. Anyway, but there's some thought process that you really shouldn't get away from.
Yeah.
You know, so but that's in a humanities thing, not like a technological thing. Technology, you should practically always go forward rather than backwards. It's bananas to take something in your example and use it that's vastly more expensive because I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And it's what I have in my apartment, and it's what I love, so that's what I'm going to use. It makes me angry.
So speaking of shit that's really inefficient, Telltale Games is going out of business. You hear about this shit?
Oh my god! And it's funny because they're very good. I mean, have you ever played any of their games? First, have you played any of their games?
I played the Walking Dead ones. I played the Back to the Future ones. I tried to play the Game of Thrones one, but it was so fucking buggy, it would crash every time. So, got my money back on that one.
So I mean, you're familiar with them, but
yeah.
they have never changed their style.
No.
And it's all about, like, you know, the presentation and the comic book like quality of it, and the voice acting has always been it. But like, they've always been top notch on it.
Right.
And it's great. I love their games because I love the interactivity, I love the story, and I'm a terrible individual. So sometimes I have a character that I just don't like, and
right.
I will actively kill you if I can. And luckily, a lot of times, I do get that choice. I get the choice to fucking murder you. Yeah, you get a whole bunch of choices to get the same outcome. That's true. That is 100% true. That's one of those, like, it's like the choose your own adventure, but like everything always leads to the last chapter. So like you start here and then you kind of do like this and then you get here.
See, one of
Like,
the biggest
cool.
problems with those games though is they gave you the illusion that things mattered. Like every time, like in the fucking Walking Dead ones, every time you said something to Clementine, it was like, Clementine will remember this. It doesn't fucking matter if she does or not. It's
It does though. There are some scenarios where like it really does matter because like especially like whenever what's the fuck's name, Kenny, like where you shit talk Kenny constantly,
yeah.
and then at the end whenever like you fall into the pit, Kenny's just like,
Fuck him.
and then just leaves, or you're like, he's like, I'm coming, Lee, and then jumps down there and saves the shit out of you, and then like he disappears and whatever. You can have the Model A in any color so long as it's black.
See, I don't think I got that
That's
far. I think I got to episode 2 and then got bored of it.
I liked it just because like I'm a big character person.
Hmm.
I extrapolate way too much information from anything that I read and or watch. And I me, dude. I watch media and then I look for the deepest possible meaning to anything that's in it.
Sure.
And so like I analyze this shit out of everything. And if it doesn't come out in the wash, if it doesn't make sense, I will destroy everything you hold dear about this thing.
Write a dissertation about it.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm looking at you, Undertale. And then so we fuck that game. That's what we should have named the stream. Just fuck Undertale. But I thought that Telltale was actually pretty good in the way that it presented its stories, presented its characters.
There you go,
Oh
Frank.
my god! Oh no, I'm leaving. I can't, dude. We'll be here all night. We'll be here all night. Look, okay, real talk.
Here we go.
Here we go. I played the Witcher series. I've read the Witcher series. I am so ready for the show to come out and be fucking terrible. I mean, it's gonna be. Look, they need to hire an actor, okay? But they got Henry Cavill. Why?
He's Superman.
Why? He's Superman. Yeah, he's Superman. And guess what? He doesn't even do that good. All he had to do was be a good guy. He couldn't even manage that. All he had to do is not be a prick. Now look at you. Why is Siri going to be black? Okay, so now, okay, this is actually an interesting point. This was something that came out as misinformation. To the sources that have come to my knowledge on this, whenever I looked into it, because I was deeply concerned because I felt like this was another example of PC culture gone berserk. So Siri in the game and in the books was white haired, green eyes, very pale skin. So I mean, she's white by every definition. And source material is being looked at for the series. Excuse me, is being looked at for the series very, very closely to the extent that they're going to use Dandelion's original Polish name. So they're like, because they use Dandelion because nobody could basically pronounce his actual name. So they're using Dandelion. Then whenever the casting group was looking for someone to play Siri, they're a Polish group that is looking in the UK, is what they're trying to do. They're trying to hire people in here. But like what they put in their press release is that they were looking for a specific minority in the UK. And everybody assumed that was going to be Black, Asian, Hispanic, Indian, basically someone of color. But demographically, to the way that it's been explained, is that the lowest minority in the UK is Polish. And so the people that were actually getting the casting call, and this was confirmed by girls who have actually been approached for the role, is that it was a misunderstanding on the casting crew's part on their information release. So the ladies that have been approached for the role, so far this could flip. You know how people are. They are. She was the girl that was approached for it. She's 17, she's white, and she's Polish. So I mean, she fits the demographic of which that they're looking for. I know. I'm reading this one.
Yeah, go
I
for
hate
it.
it when they do this shit. Roland from the Dark Tower series, who in every sense of description by King himself is said to be a Clint Eastwood looking and acting man. I love Idris Elba. I know I butchered that. No, you got it. I mean, you're close. It's EI, I think. But he doesn't fit the description of the character from literally the source of the whole story. Okay, this is another one where you've hit another one of my buttons.
Oh
Because I
man,
also have consumed Dark Tower media like you wouldn't believe. I have every one of the look, I know. I'm sorry. I have every one of the comics. I have every one of the books. I have special editions of everything. I've read it. I've read the book series. Jesus Christ, like 6 times.
we've
Um,
Frank's actually made a 10-minute video of how much he hates the Dark Tower movie, but we couldn't
and
post
I
it on
couldn't.
YouTube
Yeah, I
because
couldn't post it
copyright.
because fucking Sony sucks dick. Um. Anyway, so I dislike. I like Idris Elba. You're right. He absolutely does not fit the description of Roland at all. I don't understand the other than trying to capitulate to the Black Lives Matter movement. I don't understand how he could have fit into the I guess like the subculture that is the Dark Tower, because it is practically a subculture. I mean, they've done world building. You know, there were black people in King's original writing, but they were from Garland. They're way to the north. There wasn't that fucking many of them, and they almost never appeared. They never came into Gilead. They never came into Magus. They never came into the Lower Kingdoms ever. So I mean, you know, except for whenever um, was it Stephen's father, Eric the Red Hair? He went up there and he slew the last dragon. That was the only time that anyone ever actually encountered black folk in Gilead, in and around it, or someone from Gilead had seen one. So that was like a really big major point in the Dark Tower. So then, like, you turn around and then you make both Roland and Stephen black. I'm like, what? I mean, what? How the fuck? And then so I mean, like, this was also my concern with The Witcher. So then you're saying the series is going to be black. So then let's let's go a step further, because this is how this works. You know, funny when I think about this shit, and you all of a sudden decide that a character needs to be, you know, a different race or gender or whatever. You know, you need to actually think about the broader connotation. So in this case, Roland's dad, Stephen, was black. Okay, that's weird. A. B, let's talk about Ciri. So Ciri's black. Okay, let's make Ciri black. Let's make Ciri Indian. It doesn't fucking matter. Anything other than being, you know, white. And really, realistically, she needs to be not Polish. She needs to be German. But so let's just say, for the sake of argument, she's black. Okay, so yeah, Gilead. It's like the only reason why you read it as Gilead is because King wrote it based on the Arthurian legends, and then so you have like Galahad. Gilead. So you have Ciri. Let's say Ciri's black now. Let's just make Ciri black. She's black. All right. That means Emir Var Emrys, the king of Nilfgaard, or the emperor of Nilfgaard, is also black. You know, Emir Var Emrys. It's like literally the most German fucking name on the planet. Emperor of Nilfgaard. Gaard. I mean, you don't get any more German than that. You know, I mean, like, the only way it could be more German than that is if you screamed it from on top of a tank. And, you know, so my concern was, okay, how does that make sense? Because then, okay, if he's the Emperor of Nilfgaard, you need to take that one more step further. So he's the Emperor of Nilfgaard. She's black. He's black. The entire royal line is black. Okay, then everyone else in the fucking country needs to be black, because unless you're basically a pure-blooded Nilfgaardian, you will never sit on that fucking throne. Period. And if there is any disparity between you and them, you're not going to be emperor for very long. It would literally be like, okay, let's go the opposite direction. Let's talk about Black Panther. Okay, let's say that his sister was white. Okay? Make his sister white. She's adopted. Fine. Whatever. You know? Okay, so she's white. Everyone else is white. They literally annihilate everyone else, like in every conceptual way, for being anything other than being Black Wakandan in that movie. They massively talk down about anyone else. So then you have one person that's white. How would that even work?
Look, it seemed just fine in the Infinity War. Everybody was just dandy in there, and then they even let in what's his face, Bucky, in there to live in their borders.
You know, which is so funny because then, like, you know, the entire Black Panther movie, they're like, Buddy is just a white boy. To everyone that appeared in that movie that was not Wakandan or African, they were immediately shot down. And I love, for full disclosure, I love the movie. I thought it was great. I thought it really kind of like referenced the source material very well. But I mean, like, we need to be realistic, given that this movie is being pandered as being like the apotheosis of Black Power films. And it's one of those, we need to really consider the connotations if you upended that. If we're going to have real discussion about equality in racial filmmaking, you need to be able to upend that and be like, if a white person said that, how would they react?
Yeah, they would.
The world would be on fire.
Yeah,
Oakland would be ashes. Pittsburgh would just be like a smoldering crater.
I mean, look what happened. This was a while back, but look what happened to the Clippers owner. Do you remember anything about that? So the Clippers owner,
I have no idea.
I don't know if he's still around, but he was a really old white guy. You know,
okay,
old white guy, like wore a cowboy hat and everything. I mean, fucking old white guy. And his wife had a fling with Magic Johnson.
Happy birthday.
And he was really weird about it. He was like, look, you could sleep with him, you could go to lunch with him, but don't post that shit on Instagram. It's like weird. Like, but like, you know, he said some really, you know, fucked up shit and racist shit about, you know, black people, but it's just because he's white that it like blew up, and they wanted his job, they wanted him to lose everything because of the things he said and the way he felt about people of other races. Now you look at the opposite, which is basically what we're talking about, especially when it comes to Black Panther, and it's just all kind of okay, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be okay, and it goes with this. Again, you know, we were talking about the far left ideologues earlier, where whites are incapable of being the victims of any kind of racial discrimination of any kind, and it's insane. It's worth noting that she posted recorded phone calls with him. What a bitch.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, this bitch realistically should be beaten with sticks.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the kind of shit that like he shouldn't be losing everything. She should be going to jail for breaking all kinds of laws, not to mention adultery.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think they had an open marriage, which is fine, whatever, to each their own. But he's like, can you keep it quiet, please? Like,
yeah, you know, if you're gonna have an open marriage, the minimum that you don't want to know is you don't want to have people being like, you know, so I hear you sleep with practically everyone. You know, I mean, that's difficult. That's difficult. I mean, I can only imagine in a workplace that'd be difficult, because I mean, it'd be like, so I hear you, you know, because you imagine like, you know, his friends who probably own other baseball teams that he's probably also in competition with, being like, I heard your wife got butt slammed by Magic Johnson. Is he really that magical? I mean, you would literally never hear the end of it. I mean, your professional life is practically over.
Yeah, basically. It's not okay. It's not accepted. So.
Not that what he said was okay in any context, but why are we giving a shit about a racist old man thinks and says on his phone calls?
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you know, because like we start.
It's just private.
It was his own private phone call with his wife, and he was probably in distress. So it's like these things aren't being taken in consideration, and they're you know, we're demonizing the guy for probably having what would probably tantamount to an emotional episode. And he's having a private conversation with his spouse, who is literally fucking another dude. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I can only imagine him being I mean, it was like this Dave Chappelle thing. I think it was Dave Chappelle. No, it's Chris Rock. I'm sorry. Whenever like they were talking about like, you know, whenever people are mad, they shouldn't be held accountable for what they say. He says, because if I get into a car accident and the guy comes out and he's got a fucked up leg, he says, it's going to be fucked up, but I'm going to talk about his fucking leg. You know, and he's like, and anything I can say to hurt that other person is what I'm going to say.
Yeah, because you're going for the throat at that point.
Plus, doesn't Magic Johnson have HIV? I'd probably be saying some crazy shit too. Right. Because then it's like, okay, well, hey, Jesus Christ. So you literally slept with a guy, the most famous person in the world who has AIDS. And I sleep with you vicariously. So, I mean, like, don't you think that like maybe, like this should have been like kind of discussed at some point? Because now you literally put my life in danger, especially being old. You know, you get AIDS and you're old, the initial symptoms will fucking kill you. So, you know,
Well, to be fair, I'm pretty sure Magic Johnson got cured of AIDS because money.
I mean, I don't think that's the thing yet.
No, you
Even for
don't
Magic
know.
Johnson.
You don't know. You're not rich. They've got
I
a
mean, like
secret cure to AIDS if you're rich.
give it a couple more years, and we'll have to figure out what the past tense of magic is.
Dude, he's had AIDS for like 30 years.
I know. Okay, so like Magic. Okay, no, real talk. No, real talk. Magic Johnson has AIDS for like 30 years, and Freddie Mercury dies in like 2. What the fuck? I mean, what the actual fuck? So yeah, but these were his private conversations, and what is the extent of which that free speech becomes no longer a thing anymore? Because then now you have her retaping recordings, and it's being used to demonize and destroy this man's career and his livelihood. But they were private conversations. It's like, okay, but they were hate speech. Yeah, but they were private conversations. If I'm in the comfort of my own home and I want to wrap myself in a swastika and I want to jerk off to a bunch of snuff porn from Africa, then that's me.
It's your prerogative.
That's my prerogative of being in the privacy of my own home. Now, if I did that outside, a whole nother game. But that's not the point. The point is that it's still, in the comfort of my own home. In this case, it was the comfort of talking between him and his wife. Private conversation. It wasn't to be, aired or televised or whatever. So it really shouldn't be held to the standards of being able to remove him as a manager of anything. I mean, like, literally, he could have been running a coin operated shitter, and he should not have been able to be removed from his position, no matter what it is.
You're right. It's the same exact situation with Hulk Hogan and Gawker. Same fucking situation. And Hulk Hogan took them to the cleaners, as well as he should have.
Here's the difference. Here's the main difference. Okay, it's ethical and fine in modern culture because both parties were one party did something wrong, but both parties were black. Both parties were white.
True.
Now, somebody involved in the Magic Johnson thing, the lady is white, the guy, Magic Johnson's black, but the old guy, he's old and he's white and he's part of the patriarchy and the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously he's wrong because he's white and he has a bunch of money. It doesn't matter if he worked hard his whole life or not. It doesn't matter if he made a ton of sacrifices to get where he's at. He's old and he's white, so that makes him wrong. So he needs to be punished for being old and white. The rest of it is immaterial. Whether he did anything wrong or not doesn't matter. And that's where we get back talking in the beginning about the dangers of some of these ideologues, because that is a prevailing mythos in the far left think tank, is that old and white is guilty.
Right.
And if you're old and white and you have money, patriarchy. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people you employ. It doesn't matter how what things you did. It all boils down to you're white, you're old, you have money, you should be robbed of that, and everybody else should get it. Period.
Yeah, it's what is it? I don't want to call it a witch hunt. Is it a witch hunt? It's not really a witch hunt. But
no, it's very close to McCarthyism though, because you get to a point where it's like back in McCarthy days. So okay, so just for those who don't know, just in case you didn't take history, 1950s post World War II, Senator McCarthy was looking for communism everywhere, and he was basically fabricating it, and there were pretty much people were turning on family members and whatever, trying to prevent the spread of communism. But it was really just kind of like it was a reflection of what was happening in Russia at that very moment, where 1 in 3 people in Russia were government informants, and were having people sent by the millions to the gulags. And that was pretty much what McCarthy was doing, ironically, mimicking almost entirely the Stalin-Lenin system. So, it gets to a point where, you get to the point, like, especially like in McCarthy days, where he would say something like, well, that doesn't seem fair. He said fair, communist. He wants everyone to have everything equally. Up against the wall. Get him in jail. He's gonna turn traitor on the state.
So
It's practically the same thing.
it's like opportunism then. I mean, you see a current
Sure.
social issue right now that's really hot, and you fucking jump on that bandwagon in order to run your own agenda. I mean, you look at the feminist thing, you look at the Me Too movement, you look at all this shit, and people are trying to get a little freebie out of it, and say, oh yeah, I suffered that way too, or whatever, and it's like, dude, really, let's take a look at it. Like the whole Me Too movement, when they freaking tried to put Aziz Ansari, through the ringer, and it was just a bad date. Look at
Right.
the Me Too movement when it came to like Terry Crews. I mean, because he's a male, they're like, oh well, it doesn't. It's not you so much. He's a black male. It doesn't affect you as much as it affects women. No, dude, he got his dick grabbed by an old dude. Like, I mean, you don't get to pick and choose. For one, you don't get to pick and choose who gets affected by your movement. Your movement. For 2, don't hop on the fucking bandwagon and try and get a freebie out of it. That's
Right.
how movements
So
get dissolved.
Sean says, I can't wait for some kind of alien invasion so we can hate something else and look back and see how silly people were for being separated by race, gender, or what you do with your genitals. I agree with that. And we also, Chris Burton says, zombie apocalypse would be poetic. That's true. Then Sean says, that'd be fun, but that would slow down video game production and Game of Thrones final season release date. In order to make an omelet, you got to have a zombie apocalypse.
Can't it wait like a
Son of
year?
bitch.
You almost got him.
I did. Like the Me Too movement, especially like again, full disclosure, I don't particularly want Brett Kavanaugh to be elected as Supreme Court judge, but we have what is it? Haruna Choi from Hawaii is an excellent example of of movements gone berserk because she's weaponizing the Me Too movement to fight against Brett Kavanaugh.
Right.
And let's ignore that this happened 30 years ago. Okay. Ethically, should he be a Supreme Court judge? I think that all his time spent as a judge should speak for that. The short answer being practically no. But the problem in this is that we have a sitting senator who is part of the review committee has decided already that he is unfit for the office based on social media pressure, and that she has decided on her own per this movement that because someone has accused him of something, he is already guilty, and now she's going to use that as a furtherance platform to demonize him further and to have people show up, call out, and call for him to not be elected.
Right.
And it's like, well, you do realize anyone with any sense really will look at this and be like, by the virtue of what is transpiring right now, Brett Kavanaugh's appointing should be done behind closed doors, and it should be done by a completely new review committee, because this person has already proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that they're incapable of being impartial and making a rational judgment. They're making an off-the-cuff, knee-jerk reaction decision, and that's not appropriate for any sitting senator to ever make that kind of decision, to make a logos decision versus a pathos decision, or pathos versus logos decision. So, and then at what point, again, if with anyone that has any sense, that can look at it and go, it's been 30 something years. This Me Too movement has been going on for like 9 months now, something like that.
Something like that.
All this time, you could have come out when everyone else was doing it. But now that he might get appointed as a Supreme Court judge, now there's 3 women that have come out. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not necessarily a conspiracy guy, but that seems pretty fucking weird to me. It's like with Bill Cosby. I'm not saying Bill Cosby wasn't a monster, but it's kind of weird to me that Bill Cosby kind of went on this, rant about, like, Black culture needs to decide that it needs to not live in the dark ages. It needs to start getting an education and care about themselves. And then, he like lists all these problems that he felt the Black community needed to be facing. And then all of a sudden he was in jail.
Right.
With a bunch of sexual accusations. I mean, it wasn't even confirmed. I mean, like he like, that's like with this Kavanaugh, this lady says it, but like, he's not, it's 30 years ago. He's not going to go to jail. It's like, okay, so what, what is the point where like you look at it and go, well, tough, immaterial, because, we need to get to that point, because otherwise we're going to continue to have, the Black Lives Matter type movement, the Me Too movement, and all these other goddamn movements where like, some politician's going to be like, I've got a plan to make things better, but it's going to require that, we all work together. And then like, oh shit, he said work. Well, we can't do that. We can't work. I'm sorry, we can't work as liberal types. We are it's against our credo to work, so we can't do that. Someone's gonna have to say they fucked him. Which one? You? Okay. No. Tell him that he pushed you down and shoved his dingus right down your throat.
Cosby.
Oh no, Bill Cosby flat said it. He was on. He said it years ago whenever he was in a tandem interview in Larry King.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He fucking went off. It was great. It was glorious. It was truly because he's practically parroting Thomas Sowell, another famous Black philosopher, modern Black philosopher that lives in hiding right now because otherwise the Black community is going to murder him. He's great. If you get a chance to read his books, they're absolutely wonderful. He's a very, very well spoken professor, I believe, in New York, because he's lived in Harlem practically his whole life. But he came out and he was trying to basically lay the responsibility, which almost no Democrat ever does anymore, for the Black community's actions on the Black community, because liberals, like high liberals. Let's go crazy liberals. I have not. Oh no, I think I did.
I did.
But they like to have zero culpability. So like they want to have they want to have their entire community exculpated from the ability to actually take responsibility for anything that they're doing, said, or whatever. It's just because it's easier to do that than it is to it's easier to live with the idea that nothing that you do matters and nothing that you have matters than it is to actually take responsibility for what you do and actually make your lives better.
Well, yeah, you want to be consistently on the offensive. Once people start questioning you and what you've done and where you're at, then your movement loses a little bit of that fire, and you can't have that. But everybody wants to point their finger and say that somebody else is the problem, but look inward for once, and maybe you might be able to improve yourself and help improve the rest of society. But I'm not saying you shouldn't, call out the assholes that are part of the problem, but also you need to do so while looking at yourself.
Get your house in order.
Yeah.
It's like one of the oldest of Old and New Testament, quotations. Get your house in order before you concern yourself with the affairs of your neighbor. So it's like, if you go home and you have happy kids, happy wife, good job, stable conditions at home, your house isn't like a complete disaster, you more or less have good communication skills with the people that you work with, the people that you love, then you have the ability to tenuously reach out to just one person, just your neighbor, and try to make their life just a smidge better. Be like, should you come home from work and drink a whole bunch and then beat the shit out of your kids? I just don't, maybe we should work together on trying to maybe we should have a come to Jesus moment. You just shouldn't beat your shit out of your kids. I'm not a doctor, but I kind of, I feel like I've got my shit together.
Right.
And just by vicarious of you not living like a sociopath, if each person elects not to live like a sociopath, then society as a whole will cease to live like a sociopath.
Yeah. But I feel like everybody's so fucking short-sighted. They just want the quick buck, they want the quick solution, and they're not looking for anything long term. They're looking for, how can I get mine in a big hurry and get the fuck out of here while this thing is still fresh? And that's basically all it is. It's laziness.
Sure, but I mean, like, we as a culture, we need to turn it. We need to elect that every day when we wake up and we get out of bed, today is going to be a good day. Not only is today going to be a good day, I'm going to do something about today. First, I'm going to kill this fucking gnat. Oh, I swear to Christ, motherfucker. Anyway, so every day, whenever you get out of bed, you have to make the decision that I'm going to make today a better day. No, I mean, like, and just for you, you can just literally just go just for you. I mean, I don't mean like that in a I'm gonna take everything, me, make better day for me and fuck you. I mean, like, you have to have like the path to success laid out in your mind about being and electing to be a good or better person. And don't compare yourself, because this is something that'll drive you crazy. You look at other people in like let's just say, like, you work, let's say, like, you work in a fast food place, and like you look at the people that own the fast food place and you compare yourself to them, and you're like, oh, they have so much more than me. And then that's a good way to like destroy yourself
Right.
internally, because I mean, like, you have unrealistic expectations. You're here and they're up there. You have done nothing in between. Like, you don't know what they did to get there, the sacrifices that they've elected to make to get to where they're at. So you need to always look at where you are right now and then compare yourself to where you were yesterday. Compare yourself to the you of yesterday. I have elected, in order for me to live better today, I have come in to my tomorrow and I have decided that today I'm going to swear less, or I'm going to read a book, or I'm going to not jerk off to as much Bowsette food porn.
Look,
I'm working on that. I'm working on that last one.
What you really need to do is look at yourself and buy Ripple. Buy Ripple en masse and drive up the price so I can sell mine.
It's important to accurately measure success as well. It's important to not only accurately measure success, it's important to actually understand what it is that made it successful, and then to understand the gravity of even the most minor success.
And not only that,
because
even once you consider yourself to be successful, to be able to identify another shortcoming or flaw and work on that. I mean, you can't just be like, yeah, I did the thing, I'm better than everybody else now. No, you one success does not equate you being better than anybody. In fact, nobody's better than anybody. But you just because you made a lot of money doesn't mean that you're fucking talented, or I don't know where I'm going with that, but you kind of get the idea.
Consider yourself a bad person because you're bad at one thing, or allow others to make you feel like you're less just because of that shortcoming, doesn't mean you're a shit person. No, it just means that you have insecurities that you need to look at. And that's something that you can wake up in the morning, and you can also, that's another measurement of success that you can visit.
Yeah.
I feel like I was, like today, I totally fucked up on Bohemian Rhapsody. I did, in front of God and everybody, but I mean, by the end of the song, I had already done better. Now tomorrow I'll measure my success again by playing it again, and then I'll be like, okay, I'm at 88.7%. Am I going to be able to get to 88.8? And even that small incremental success is a success. And you have to recognize in yourself that even moving the most minuscule amount forward is a great success as a person, because a lot of times most people don't even do that. I mean, like, most people, like, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times that, like, I've talked to people that, they're like, oh, you play guitar? I'm like, well, I mean, your words. I have a guitar that sometimes I play, and they're like, oh, I played guitar once, but it wasn't for me, which is easy speak for, like, I got up in the morning and it was just too hard. I just didn't want to work at it. And it's like, no, you can't do that. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you really want it, I mean, you can do that. You can be like, you get up, you play it, you didn't like it, put it away. Okay,
sure,
whatever. It's not for you. But I mean, like, you can't just be like, I had a hard time at one song. Well, fuck everything. I'm just throwing it away.
I'm no good at this.
You just can't do that.
Yeah.
It upsets me that we propagate this unrealistic idea of how life works. Right. I mean, and this to me is the culmination of a lack of education and a lack of direction that we as Americans have placed in philosophy and the humanities, where we have decided as a a culture that the idea of perpetuating education and understanding of both the humanities and philosophy as being something that isn't worth your time. Because the philosophy isn't just about like how to think gooderist. It's about how to live well or live better, and it's also about how to cope with the idea of mortality. So I mean, like, and if you let's just say you're an atheist, and so then you believe in nothing. You die, you're a sack of meat, and then you're buried, and then you're gone. That causes a lot of people to have like what's called an existential crisis. And then they go from an existential crisis and they slip into the concepts of nihilism, which is
Mhm.
nothing matters.
Right.
Because you go from believing into nothing and then to nothing matters. So then that's a huge problem, because people with nihilism are assholes and elbows above everyone else in depression.
Yeah.
Because they believe in nothing and then they have nothing and nothing matters. So then if nothing matters, if life doesn't matter, then why bother living it? And that's something that like we need to be teaching to children in school, that even like religious connotations aside, it doesn't matter. Everything that you do matters. Or like I was reading a very interesting dissertation where they're talking about you have two options. You have where it comes to responsibility. You either have the option of nothing you do matters, which means that you get to live a carefree life and just sort of like kind of dither about until you die, or you can have a meaningful life where everything matters, but that's the trade-off. Everything you do matters, from the things that you do when you get up, the things that you say when you go to the grocery store, the things that you buy, the things that you watch, the things that you read. Everything matters. It's never like well, it doesn't really matter. No, it matters. Everything matters. And that's like, those are the two really like despairing like extremes of how you can live your life. And it's very it can be pretty galling for a lot of people to have the idea that everything that you do actually has a broader meaning.
Yeah.
You can read the rest of the stuff that he said.
Well, I'll just sum it up. I mean, he's basically saying that movies in general are sensationalizing everything, and it's always been that way. It's been that way since the Iliad. Even before then. It's people
Right.
don't want to read about your everyday life or watch your everyday life. They want to see the achievements. They want to see the exaggerated shit that you did or didn't do to make something interesting happen. I mean, and it's important to keep that in mind because I mean, you consume all of this, all these stories, all these movies, whatever, and you're like, man, I could never be as great as these people I've read about or seen on the big screen. But that's because we've become very impatient as a people because all we ever see is people's successes. I mean, you look at the internet, you look at Twitter, you look at all this shit. All we ever see is people doing fantastic because nobody wants to share their failures. Nobody wants to share the hard work they put in to get there. They just want you to see the results.
Kind of. I mean, like if you read like anybody's autobiography that's ever been successful, I mean, they'll tell you all about the goddamn failures they've had. I mean,
Sure.
look at the biography of Lincoln. I mean, he literally failed his whole life until he became a politician, and then by some fucking miracle, he became a politician, and after becoming a politician, he worked really hard and became president. But he failed incessantly. He failed incessantly. David Bowie is another great example. He couldn't sell Space Oddity, the album.
Right.
One of like literally the most influential songs that's ever been fucking written. He couldn't get anyone to buy it. I mean, he couldn't get anyone to even play it for free until like somebody was like, well, shit, I'll take a chance. And then it became like this international fucking nutsack rupturing burst. Like it's you just have to keep trying. It's the same because we're talking about books with Stephen King earlier. Stephen King, he has a literal garage full of rejected stories. I mean, like, you could probably fill a garage with stories that have been accepted, but he's also got like a garage full of stories that weren't. So it's like you need to, where movies are concerned, they are caricatures of archetypal identities in stories and mythologies. So like you have a character, because you brought up the Iliad. So you have Odysseus. He's, he is your archetypal hero. He faces adversity, but always by some miracle overcomes it, whether it be by through the works of the gods or, miraculous circumstances. You know, he is the hero. In your life, you will never face, well, Christ, hopefully you'll never face anything like Charybdis, because that's fucking terrifying. You will never face the same kinds of hardships. But you'll also, you know, but by that account, you also never face those kinds of hardships. I mean, like, but it's supposed to be allegory for the normal hardships that you go through in your day-to-day life. For, you know, you were lost, and then you were found, and then you came home. You know, it's not, you know, and you are the hero of your own story, and that was the whole point of the Odyssey, of like going from start to finish. You started out great, and now you need to come full circle to cultivate your person to becoming great again, and then you will be home, and it will be where you reside until the time that you die.
Right, and you have to digest it in such a manner. I mean, you add all the
We
fantasy.
can't read it and be like, Jesus, I wish I had thighs like Telemachus. Oh my God. I mean, that boy is fucking beastly.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
you got to digest it in such a fashion where it's like, wow, this guy had a lot of hardships. Not like the sirens and like all this other fantasy-driven shit that you're never gonna see in your lifetime, because either A, it doesn't exist, or it's only ever seen by people that have died before. You know, like, so you have to take these stories with a grain of salt, but also take what you can from them. And I mean, look at the Bible, for example. I mean,
Right.
you know, believe it or not, they're still pretty damn good stories for the most part. And you know, you take the lessons that you need to take from it. You have to reflect on yourself and be like, what would I have done in that situation? And if all those variables were the same, you know, would I have done the same thing? What can I do to myself, for myself, in order to be like that person? You know, and just stop living with your head in the clouds and thinking that you can be Captain America, or, you know, shit like that. I mean, it's all just exaggerated shit that people have gone through, but they've put a twist on it to make it more interesting.
Well, sure, because they're the larger than life inhuman characters,
Yeah.
and that's how they're designed to be. Because like you don't want to read about, like, you know, your everyman, because your everyman is uninteresting. It's Charybdis, and I think it's the fourth trial of Odysseus, where no, I can't remember the order. It is a creature that creates the giant whirlpool that guards basically the nether realm of the sea. So he swirls around, he loses his ship, and I think after that he ends up with the Lotus Eaters. Yeah, he's a sea monster.
Yeah.
But I mean, basically, like, okay, so like I have a thing about, like, where I'm terrified of being eaten underwater. You know, like a lot of rational people, I feel, and so Charybdis to me is the embodiment of everything fucking awful. No, it's all part of the Odyssey. If you read the Odyssey, you know what Charybdis is. I probably just said it way too fast. But I mean, it's terrifying literally in every aspect. To me, because I mean, here's my thing. So I mean, like, Charybdis by himself is terrible. All right, can you imagine falling off of the ship and then you see Charybdis under the water?
Oh my god.
My fucking brain, like, literally cannot do that. I mean, that is a level of cyclopean horror that I cannot truly fathom, and it is the kind of thing that Lovecraft wrote would run you mad out of both sides.
Yeah, man, his two greatest fears.
Well, I mean, look, gators are they're just dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's
I
basically.
mean, like, you got attacked by a dinosaur.
Yeah, that's what it is. Thalassophobia. Hit that subreddit, dude.
Is that
That's the fear of
like
underwater.
the fear? Oh, is it? Okay, I didn't know you had a name.
Yeah.
No, you know what's funny? You know, real talk. I ended up getting that fear from a video game, so that's fun. I mean, that was a childhood scarring moment. Okay, so I played EverQuest, and like, I gotta tell the story now.
Right.
So like, I played EverQuest, and I was in the Ocean of Tears. It was dark. It was nighttime. I fell off the boat. Okay, which, you know, under normal circumstances doesn't bother me, you know, because it's whatever.
EverQuest.
But then, yeah, EverQuest, and then whenever they're in the Ocean of Tears, so it's about, let's say the zone is about that big. Okay. There is a creature called Fadadar in EverQuest, and in his initial inception, he would take up about this much of the zone. So the thing is truly fucking monstrous. and he is huge, and looks like a giant anglerfish. But the way that the shaders worked back then was that everything was very angular. Don't even say that. If Neil puts okay, look, if you that would be a good Halloween prank. If I'm fucking doing this with you, because I look at the screen where I'm looking at the thing back there, and like you put like a fucking little video of Fadedar or any kind of sea monster rushing at me, I may actually break all the shit here trying to get away from it.
Thank you
so
for
then
such an idea.
So I jump into the water, and Fadedar is literally sitting right in front of me, and it was truly horrifying because, you know, like I said, the shaders don't work right. So like he's half black, you know, he's half like completely pitch black. So it's like, you know, you see this side of his face and I was like, and then like my heart stopped. I literally just got up and I was like, fuck. And I was like, what? God, Jesus, right? I was like 12, 13. So we were kids shit. Okay. EverQuest been around for like fucking 20, 25 years. So I mean, like it's forever old, but you know, it was unbelievably scary, and I carry that fear today. You know, I mean, I'm still afraid of it. Like we go to the aquarium, and the first thing I do is go boom boom. We're fine. I mean, just being look, you know, I'm gonna be honest. I get concerned about some things. Like you know, like if this glass breaks, I'll push everyone down.
Everybody's gonna.
I'm not a big guy, but I know how to use what weight I do have, and I will get past you. I will, once this glass breaks and that wave comes down, I will fucking ride your corpse through the exit. I am so gone.
Oh man. So we kind of went way off topic tonight, but that's all right. That's kind of what we do.
That's true.
But we're gonna wrap it up here. We've done our 90 minutes.
Hashtag corpse surfing. The original EverQuest right now is free. You can basically play it on your phone. PlayStation 2 was just EverQuest, except for it had a different name too, which was weird. And whenever you play the original EverQuest, it was kind of like, are any of you people like on the PlayStation version? But then you found out that it wasn't like the same realm, so you're like, what's even the point? EverQuest 2 is great, also free. Their alternate advanced system has me completely flustered though. It was watered down. Well, it would have to be. EverQuest is incredibly complicated. It remains incredibly complicated, but they've updated a lot of the games. So, like, if you liked it originally, I recommend going and giving it a shot. It's a lot of fun. I know I stepped all over your outro. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, man. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Let's just stay here all night. Like Frank's gonna
I'm okay with that.
He's gonna fall asleep at his microphone, like an old man.
Yep, that's my old man sleep.
Well, anywho.
I do that. I do that to my kids all the time. I do my old man sleep. They think it's funnier than hell.
Sean, thank you so much for subscribing to us. If you'd like to join in on the discussion, absolutely. Our Discord is down below, so you can pop in and say hi, and we're always posting shit in there to laugh at, and we've got a lot of discussion going on there all the time, so please join us. We'll see you guys next time. Tomorrow we're going to be doing tabletop, same time. So if you want to drop in and watch that, I don't know what we're doing. It's probably not going to be Munchkin. I think we're going to do exploding cats. I think that's what we're doing. So
Kittens.
What?
It's kittens.
Oh, it's kittens. Kitty cats. All right. Yeah, man, you can download Discord on your phone. So pop on in, dude. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. Bye.
This is my dance. This is my photograph. Every time I see it, it makes me laugh. Except in the gulagness, nothing's fun. That's what needs to happen. Nickelback Gulag. That's a cover band. Nickelback Gulag. Oh my God, Neil. Oh my God, Nickelback Gulag.
Shut up, Frank.